The coffee maker was still warm when I found Arden packing the kids' passports. I stood in our bedroom doorway, watching my wife of 12 years fold Lily's birth certificate into a manila envelope with the same precision she used for everything else. Max's passport photo stared up at me from the dresser, gap-toothed grin, cowlick defying gravity. He'd been 7 when we took that picture. Now he was 8, and apparently we were going somewhere I hadn't been invited to. Planning a vacation? I asked, keeping my voice level. After 15 years in construction project management, I'd learned that the calm question usually got you further than the angry demand. Arden didn't look up. Something like that. Funny. I don't remember discussing any trips. She finally met my eyes. We need to talk, Hale. Those 4 words. In my experience, nothing good ever followed those 4 words. I leaned against the doorframe and waited. I'm not happy, she said, sitting on the edge of our bed. The same bed where we'd whispered about dreams and futures and whether we could afford to refinish the hardwood floors. I haven't been happy for a long time. Okay, what do you want to do about it? Arden smoothed her skirt, the expensive one she'd bought last month, the one that cost more than our grocery budget. Victor thinks the kids and I should stay at his place for a while, just until I figure things out. Victor Hanford, her boss at the real estate development firm where she worked as an executive assistant. 54 years old, recently divorced, owner of a mansion in the Hills district that probably cost more than I'd make in 10 years. I'd met him exactly once, at the company Christmas party, where he'd shaken my hand with the kind of grip that said he was measuring me and finding me wanting. Victor thinks, I repeated. And what do you think? I think I'm tired of scraping by. I think I'm tired of choosing between the electric bill and new shoes for Max. I think I'm tired of watching other people live the life I want. The life you want. Yes. Her chin lifted, defiant. I want to try being rich, Hale. Just for a while, to see what it feels like. I looked around our bedroom, the walls we'd painted together when Lily was a baby, the dresser we'd bought secondhand and refinished ourselves, the window that looked out over our small backyard where Max had learned to ride his bike and Lily had planted her first garden. And the kids? They'll love it. Victor has a pool, a game room. Lily could have her own bathroom. That's not what I meant. Arden stood up, smoothing her skirt again. A nervous habit I'd stopped finding endearing somewhere around year 10. They're my children too, Hale. I have every right to take them with me. For how long? I don't know. A few weeks. Maybe longer. We'll see how it goes. I watched her zip up the envelope with our children's identification documents. Birth certificates, social security cards, passports we'd gotten for a Disney cruise that never happened because the transmission went out on my truck. What about school? Victor knows people. He can get them into Riverside Academy. Better teachers, smaller classes, actual art programs. Riverside Academy. Private school tuition that cost more per year than most people's cars. I'd looked into it once, back when Lily was starting kindergarten, and we still thought, maybe, somehow, we could give our kids everything we'd never had. And us? What about us? Are we getting divorced, Arden? Or are you just taking a really expensive vacation with another man? Her jaw tightened. Don't be crude. I'm being practical. If you're leaving me, just say so. If you're taking the kids, we need to talk about custody and support and all the legal stuff that comes with blowing up a family. I'm not blowing up anything. I'm just exploring my options. With Victor. Yes, with Victor. I nodded slowly. Does Victor's wife know about these options you're exploring? Genevieve is on a wellness retreat in Switzerland. She's been gone for 2 months. How convenient. Arden's eyes flashed. You don't get to judge me, Hale. You don't get to stand there in your work boots and your self-righteous attitude and make me feel guilty for wanting more. More what? More everything. More money, more excitement, more possibility. More than this. She gestured around the room. More than a husband who comes home covered in sawdust and thinks dinner at Applebee's is a special occasion. I see. Do you? Do you really? Because I've been trying to tell you for years that I'm drowning here, that I need something bigger, something better, and you just keep talking about budgets and being practical, and maybe next year we can afford to redo the kitchen. I thought about the kitchen renovation plans I'd been working on. Sketches drawn late at night after the kids were asleep, measurements taken and retaken, prices compared and budgets stretched. I'd been planning to surprise her for our anniversary. So you've decided to upgrade. If that's how you want to put it, yes. And the kids are part of the package deal. The kids deserve better too. They deserve private school and music lessons and summer camps that aren't run by the YMCA. They deserve their father. Arden's expression softened slightly. You can visit. Victor's not unreasonable. Visit. Like I was some distant relative who might stop by for holidays. How generous of him. Hale, please. Try to understand. This isn't about hurting you. It's about giving Lily and Max opportunities we could never provide. We? You know what I mean. I did know. I knew exactly what she meant. I also knew that arguing wasn't going to change anything. Arden had made up her mind, probably weeks or months ago. This conversation was just a formality, a courtesy notification before she disappeared with my children. When? Today. Victor's sending a car at 3. I checked my watch. It was already past noon. You've got everything planned out. I've been thinking about this for a long time. Clearly. Arden stood up, the envelope clutched in her hands. I know you're angry. I'm not angry. I'm impressed. This level of organization takes real commitment. Don't be sarcastic. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm genuinely impressed by your thoroughness. You've managed to plan an entire life change without once mentioning it to your husband. That takes skill. You would have tried to talk me out of it. You're right, I would have. Silly me, thinking I had some say in whether my wife and children disappeared from my life. Arden moved toward the door, then stopped. This doesn't have to be permanent, Hale. If things don't work out, you'll come back? Maybe, I don't know. I need to see what's possible first. I stepped aside to let her pass. Well, when you figure out what's possible, let me know. I'll be here. Paying the mortgage on our house in case you need somewhere to come back to. She paused in the hallway. I do love you, Hale. In my way. In your way. Yes. Just not enough to stay. Not enough to keep living like this. I watched her walk down the hall toward Lily's room, where I could hear drawers opening and closing, hangers sliding across closet rods, the sounds of a life being dismantled, one outfit at a time. I went downstairs and made myself a cup of coffee. The house felt different already, like a stage set being struck after the final performance. Through the kitchen window, I could see Max in the backyard, throwing a tennis ball against the fence. He had no idea his world was about to change. The coffee tasted bitter. Everything tasted bitter. At 2:45, a black sedan pulled into our driveway. Not a taxi or an Uber, but an actual chauffeur-driven car with tinted windows and chrome that caught the afternoon sun like a mirror. Victor's car, no doubt, or one of them. Lily appeared at my elbow. Whose car is that, Dad? Your mom's boss sent it. Why? I looked down at my 11-year-old daughter. Her hair was in braids, the way I'd learned to do them after watching YouTube videos. She was wearing her favorite jeans, the ones with the butterfly patch she'd sewn on herself. Your mom wants to show you and Max something special. Like what? A different kind of house, with a pool. Lily's eyes widened. Really? Can we swim? I think that's the idea. Max came running in from the backyard, still clutching his tennis ball. Mom says we're going on an adventure. That's right, buddy. Are you coming too? I knelt down so I was at his eye level. Not this time, but you're going to have fun, okay? And you're going to take care of your sister. I always take care of Lily. I know you do. Arden appeared at the top of the stairs, dragging 2 suitcases. She'd changed into a dress I'd never seen before, something that probably cost more than my monthly truck payment. Her hair was perfect, her makeup flawless. She looked like she was going to a job interview or a date. "Kids, get your backpacks. We need to go." The next 20 minutes passed in a blur of activity. Backpacks stuffed with tablets and chargers, last-minute trips to the bathroom, Lily running back upstairs for her stuffed elephant, Max searching frantically for his favorite baseball cap. I stood in the doorway and watched my family prepare to leave me behind. The driver got out to help with the luggage. He was young, probably mid-20s, wearing a crisp uniform and the kind of professional smile that came with a good salary. He loaded the suitcases into the trunk with practiced efficiency. "Ready?" Arden asked. Lily hugged me first. "Bye, Dad. We'll call you tonight. I'll be waiting." Max wrapped his arms around my waist. "Will you miss us?" "Every second." "We'll be back soon, right, Mom?" Arden's smile was bright and empty. "We'll see, honey." I walked them to the car. The driver held the door open, and my children climbed into the back seat like they were boarding a spaceship to another planet, which, in a way, they were. Arden paused before getting in. "I'll call you when we get settled." "Sure." "Hale, Just go, Arden. The kids are waiting." She nodded and slid into the car beside Lily. The driver closed the door with a soft, expensive sound. Through the tinted windows, I could see Max's face pressed against the glass, waving. I stood in my driveway and watched the car disappear around the corner. Then I went inside, poured the rest of the coffee down the sink, and sat at my kitchen table in the sudden, overwhelming silence. My phone buzzed. A text from Arden. "Thank you for understanding." I stared at the message for a long time, then deleted it without responding. Understanding. Right. I understood plenty. I understood that my wife had been planning this for weeks, maybe months. I understood that she'd been lying to me every morning when she kissed me goodbye, and every evening when she asked about my day. I understood that she'd looked at our life, our house, our struggles, our small victories and everyday happiness, and decided it wasn't enough. What I didn't understand was what came next. I pulled out my laptop and started doing what I did best, making lists, creating timelines, organizing information. If Arden thought she could just disappear with my children and leave me scrambling in the dark, she was about to learn that 15 years of managing construction projects had taught me a few things about planning and documentation. I started with the basics: school contact information, pediatrician records, insurance policies. Then I moved on to the more complicated stuff: custody laws, legal precedents, family court procedures. By the time the sun went down, I had a folder full of information and a plan that was starting to take shape. Arden wanted to upgrade her life. Fine. But she was about to discover that some upgrades came with unexpected costs. My phone rang at 8:30. Lily's voice, bright and excited. "Dad, you should see this house. It has an elevator." "An elevator? Wow. And my room has a balcony, and there's a movie theater in the basement." "That sounds amazing, sweetheart." "Max already went swimming. The pool has lights that change colors." "Is your mom there?" "She's talking to Mr. Victor in his office." "Dad, did you know he has 3 cars?" "I didn't know that. A red one and a silver one and a black one like the one that picked us up. Mom says maybe she can learn to drive the red one." "Maybe she can." "When are you coming to visit?" "I don't know yet, Lily. Soon, I hope." "Okay, I miss you." "I miss you too, baby. Take care of your brother, okay?" "I will. Love you, Dad." "Love you too." The line went quiet. I sat in my empty house and listened to the silence. No cartoon shows playing in the living room. No arguments about homework or bedtime. No small feet running up and down the stairs. Just me and the sound of the refrigerator humming and the neighbor's dog barking at shadows. I opened my laptop again and continued working. By midnight, I had a comprehensive file documenting everything from the kids' school attendance records to Arden's recent credit card statements. I'd always been good with details, but tonight I was motivated by something deeper than professional habit. Tonight, I was motivated by the knowledge that my wife had just made the biggest mistake of her life. She just didn't know it yet. 3 days later, I signed a lease on a 2-bedroom apartment 6 blocks from Lily and Max's school. It wasn't much, generic carpet, white walls, and a kitchen the size of a closet, but it was clean, furnished, and available immediately. More importantly, it was close enough that I could handle school pickup without missing work. The landlord, Mrs. Chen, was a practical woman in her 60s who asked direct questions and accepted direct answers. When I explained that I needed a short-term place while sorting out a family situation, she nodded and handed me the keys. Kids? 2, 11 and 8. They'll be staying here sometimes. School district? Riverside Elementary. Walking distance. Good school. My grandson goes there. She didn't ask about my wife or why I was suddenly apartment hunting in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon. I appreciated that kind of discretion. I moved my essential belongings in 3 trips: clothes, laptop, coffee maker, and a box of the kids' favorite books and games. Everything else stayed at the house. Arden was still paying her half of the mortgage, and I wasn't about to give her any excuse to claim I'd abandoned our property. The apartment felt like a hotel room, but it served its purpose. I was 15 minutes from my job site, 10 minutes from the kids' school, and close enough to our old house that I could drive by and check on things without making a special trip. That first week, I established a routine. Work from 7 to 4, then park outside Riverside Elementary at 3:15 and wait. Not to cause trouble or make a scene, just to be visible. To remind the school staff and the other parents that Lily and Max Trenwick still had a father who cared about their education. The kids didn't show up Monday or Tuesday. Wednesday, I called the school. "This is Hale Trenwick. I'm checking on my children Lily and Max. They haven't been in class this week." "Let me check our records, Mr. Trenwick." A pause. "I show that Mrs. Trenwick called Monday morning to report that the children would be out for the rest of the week due to a family emergency." "What kind of emergency?" "She didn't specify. Is everything all right?" "Everything's fine. The emergency is resolved. The children will be back in school Monday." "I'll make a note in their files." I hung up and immediately called Arden. Straight to voicemail. "This is Hale. Call me back. We need to discuss the kids' school situation." She didn't call back that day, or the next day, or the day after that. Friday afternoon, I drove past Victor's house in the Hills District. I'd looked up the address online: 4847 Belmont Drive, a sprawling contemporary mansion with a circular driveway and a gate that probably cost more than my truck. Through the bars, I could see the red convertible Lily had mentioned, parked next to the black sedan that had picked up my family. As I sat there, trying to decide whether to ring the doorbell or drive away, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Dad, it's Lily. I'm using Mr. Victor's iPad. We went shopping today and I got new clothes. Call me." I called the number immediately. "Lily? Dad, hi. Guess what? Mom bought me a dress that costs more than our grocery money." "Did she really say that?" "Uh-huh. She said now we don't have to worry about grocery money anymore because Mr. Victor has lots of money and he likes to share." "I see. How's Max?" "He's good. He learned to do a flip off the diving board. Mr. Victor has a diving coach who comes on Tuesdays and Thursdays." "A diving coach." "And a chef. We had lobster for dinner last night. I didn't like it, but Max ate 2 whole ones." "Lily, are you going back to school Monday?" "I don't know. Mom says maybe we'll try a different school, a better one." "What's wrong with your old school?" "Nothing. I like Mrs. Patterson, but Mom says the new school has horses." "Horses?" "For riding lessons, and they teach French, and everyone gets their own laptop." I could hear excitement in her voice, but also something else. Uncertainty, maybe. Or homesickness. "Dad, When are you coming to visit? I'm working on that, sweetheart. Is your mom there? She's getting her nails done. Mr. Victor has a lady who comes to the house. Of course he does. Listen, Lily, I want you to keep this phone number, okay? If you need anything, or if you want to talk, you call me right away. Okay. I miss you, Dad. I miss you too, baby. More than you know. After we hung up, I sat in my truck outside Victor's gate for another 10 minutes, watching the house where my children were learning to live without me. Then I drove back to my apartment and spent the weekend documenting everything. I created a detailed timeline of events, starting with the day Arden packed the passports and ending with Lily's phone call. I printed out bank statements showing that I was still paying the mortgage, utilities, and insurance on our house. I gathered school records, medical records, and copies of every text message Arden had sent me since leaving. There weren't many messages, just a few brief updates. Kids are fine. Having a great time. We'll call soon. No discussion of when they might come home. No mention of school enrollment or custody arrangements. No acknowledgement that she'd essentially kidnapped our children and moved them in with another man. Monday morning, I called Riverside Elementary again. This is Hale Trenwick. Are my children in school today? Let me check. No, Mr. Trenwick. We received another call from Mrs. Trenwick this morning. She said the children would be enrolled in a different school. Did she say which school? No, sir. She said she'd send their records transfer request by the end of the week. I see. Can you make a note that I did not authorize this transfer? I'll make a note, but sir, both parents have equal rights to make educational decisions unless there's a court order stating otherwise. I understand. Thank you. I hung up and called my insurance company to update my address. Then I called the kids' pediatrician and made sure they had my new contact information. Small steps, but important ones. I was building a paper trail that showed I was the parent maintaining stability and continuity while Arden was making unilateral decisions that disrupted our children's lives. That afternoon, I got my first real break. Julian Reeves, my oldest friend and the most tech-savvy person I knew, called with interesting news. You know that social media monitoring thing I set up for you? Yeah. Your wife's been busy. Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok. Want to see what she's been posting? 20 minutes later, Julian was sitting in my apartment with his laptop, showing me a slideshow of my family's new life. Arden lounging by Victor's pool in a bikini that definitely hadn't come from Target. The kids playing in a game room that looked like something from a magazine. Max doing cannonballs while a man I assumed was Victor watched from a poolside chair. Look at this one, Julian said, clicking on a video, posted yesterday. It was Arden giving a tour of my new home, showing off marble countertops and a walk-in closet the size of my entire apartment. Her voice was bright and animated as she described the amazing opportunities her children were experiencing. And this is Lily's new room, she said, panning the camera across a space that looked like a princess suite. She has her own bathroom and a balcony overlooking the garden. The video had dozens of comments. You deserve this. Living your best life. So happy for you. But there were other comments too. What about your husband? Where's their dad? This seems sudden. Arden had responded to those with variations of, it's complicated and sometimes you have to choose happiness. There's more, Julian said. Look at this. He showed me a Facebook post from 3 days earlier. Sometimes life gives you exactly what you need when you need it most. Grateful for new beginnings and the courage to embrace them. Blessed. New chapter. Living my best life. The post had generated a long thread of comments from friends and acquaintances. Most were supportive, but a few were asking pointed questions. Where's Hale? Asked someone named Jennifer Morrison. Is everything okay with you guys? From Mike Patterson. Girl, you need to call me ASAP, from someone called Tina M. Arden had responded to the direct questions with deflection. Hale and I are figuring things out. Thanks for caring. This is good. I told Julian. Really good. How is this good? Your wife is basically announcing to the world that she left you for a rich guy. Exactly. She's documenting everything herself. If this ends up in court, I won't need to prove that she abandoned our marriage and took the kids. She's posting the evidence herself. Julian looked at me with something that might have been admiration. You're taking this really well. I'm taking this strategically. What's your next move? I wait, and I document everything. And when the time comes, I use it all. Use it for what? To get my kids back. That night, Arden finally called me. Hale, we need to talk. I've been waiting for your call. I know you're angry about the school thing, but I had to make a decision. Riverside Academy has an opening, and if we didn't take it now, the kids would have to wait until next year. You enrolled them without discussing it with me. I'm their mother. I have the right to make educational decisions. You also have the responsibility to discuss those decisions with their father. You would have said no. You don't know that. Of course you would have said no. You say no to everything that costs money. I took a breath. How much does Riverside Academy cost? That's not your concern anymore. It's not my concern? Victor is handling the tuition, and the uniforms, and everything else they need. I see. And what does Victor get in return? Don't be disgusting. I'm being practical. A man doesn't spend that kind of money on someone else's children without expecting something in return. He cares about us, about our future. Our future. Yes, mine and the kids. What about my future? What about my relationship with my children? You can visit. We can work out a schedule. A schedule? Yes. Maybe every other weekend, or one weekend a month. We'll see how it goes. I looked around my small apartment. The kids' books stacked on the coffee table. The bunk beds I'd ordered but hadn't assembled yet because I kept hoping they'd come home on their own. Arden, bring the kids back. No. Bring them back, and we'll talk about this like adults. We'll discuss private school and custody and whatever else you want to discuss. But bring them home first. This is their home now. Victor's house is their home? Yes. What happens when Victor gets tired of playing house? What happens when his wife comes back from her wellness retreat and finds you living in her bedroom? Genevieve isn't coming back, they're getting divorced. He told you that? Yes. And you believe him? Yes, I believe him. Why would he lie? I could think of several reasons, but I kept them to myself. When is this divorce supposed to happen? Soon. The papers are already filed. I see. And then what? You marry Victor and become the stepmother to his money? You're being cruel. I'm being realistic. You left your husband and took your children to live with another man. What did you think I was going to say? Congratulations? I thought you might try to understand. I understand perfectly. You decided our life wasn't good enough, so you upgraded. The question is, what happens when Victor decides to upgrade too? The line went quiet for a moment. Then Arden said, I have to go. The kids are waiting for dinner. Can I talk to them? Not tonight. They're tired. Arden, I'll call you later this week. I stared at my phone for a long moment, then opened my laptop and added the conversation to my growing file. 3 days later, everything changed. I was on a job site Thursday morning when Julian called, barely able to contain his excitement. Dude, you need to see this. Your wife's social media just exploded. What do you mean? I mean, she deleted everything. All the posts about Victor's house, all the pictures of the kids by the pool, everything. Her Facebook status is back to married, and she posted something about temporary situations and working things out with family. When? About an hour ago. But here's the really interesting part. I screenshot everything before she deleted it. And I found out why she's backtracking. Why? Victor's wife came home early. I found a Society page article about Genevieve Hanford returning from her European wellness retreat to focus on her marriage. There's a picture of her and Victor at some charity thing last night. I felt something shift in my chest, Not quite relief, but close to it. Where's Arden? No idea, but based on her sudden social media cleanup, I'm guessing she's not at Victor's anymore. I left the job site and drove straight to our house. Arden's car was in the driveway, and I could see lights on in the kitchen. I sat in my truck for a moment, gathering myself, then walked to the front door. I could hear voices inside, Lily laughing at something, Max asking for more juice, the sound of my children in their own home. I used my key and walked in. Arden was standing at the kitchen sink, still wearing the expensive dress from her social media posts, but looking somehow diminished. Her perfect hair was messed up, and her makeup was smudged around the edges. "Dad?" Max launched himself at me, wrapping his arms around my waist. "Hey, buddy. I missed you." Lily hugged me next, and for a moment everything felt normal again. My kids, my kitchen, my family back where they belonged. "How was your adventure?" I asked. "It was fun," Lily said carefully. "But I missed my room." "And I missed my baseball cards," Max added. "Mr. Victor doesn't like baseball." I looked at Arden over their heads. She was watching us with an expression I couldn't quite read. "Kids, why don't you go upstairs and unpack? I need to talk to your mom." They ran off, chattering about their own beds and their own toys. I waited until I heard their footsteps on the stairs before speaking. "Rough day?" Arden's jaw tightened. "Don't." "Don't what?" "Don't gloat. Don't stand there looking smug." "I'm not gloating. I'm asking if you're okay." She turned back to the sink, gripping the edge of the counter. "Genevieve came home early. She wasn't supposed to be back for another month." "But she came back." "Yes." "And?" "And she made it very clear that I wasn't welcome in her house." I imagine she did. "She threatened to call the police if I didn't leave immediately. She said I was trespassing." "Were you?" Arden whirled around. "I was invited. Victor invited us to stay." "Victor invited you to stay in his wife's house while his wife was out of the country. That's not the same thing as being invited to move in permanently?" "He said they were getting divorced." "Maybe they are, but apparently not fast enough for your timeline." Arden's face crumpled slightly. "She was horrible, Hale. She called me names I won't repeat in front of the children. She said I was a pathetic housewife having a midlife crisis. That must have been embarrassing. It was humiliating. And Victor just stood there. He didn't defend me or tell her to stop. He just stood there." I nodded. "What did you expect him to do?" "I expected him to stand up for me. I expected him to tell his wife that he'd made a choice." "But he didn't." "No, he didn't." I leaned against the kitchen counter, the same counter where we'd eaten breakfast together 1,000 times, where the kids had done homework and built Lego castles and drawn pictures that we'd hung on the refrigerator. "So what now?" "I don't know." Her voice was small, defeated. I thought it would be different." "You thought what would be different?" "Everything. I thought having money would solve our problems. I thought the kids would be happier. I thought I would be happier." "And were you? Happier?" She was quiet for a long moment. "For a while. It felt like playing dress-up, you know. Like being someone else. Someone who didn't have to worry about bills or budgets or whether we could afford to fix the washing machine. But it wasn't real. It was Victor's life, not mine. I was just visiting." I looked around our kitchen. The refrigerator covered with school artwork and family photos. The table where we'd shared thousands of meals. The window over the sink where Arden used to stand and watch the kids play in the backyard. The kids seem okay. They're resilient, but Lily asked me 3 times when we were coming home, and Max cried himself to sleep the first 2 nights. They missed their dad. Yes, they missed you. Did you miss me? Arden looked at me for a long moment. I miss the idea of you. The idea of me. The version of you that could give me the life I wanted. I nodded slowly. But not the actual me. I don't know, Hale. I honestly don't know. Upstairs, I could hear the kids moving around, settling back into their rooms. Normal sounds, home sounds. What do you want to do now? I want to pretend this never happened. I want to go back to 3 weeks ago and make different choices. But we can't do that. No, we can't. I looked at my wife, standing in our kitchen in her expensive dress, looking lost and small and nothing like the confident woman who'd climbed into Victor's car with our children. Arden, I need you to understand something. What? This can't happen again. You can't just take the kids and disappear whenever you're unhappy with our life. I know. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're only back because your backup plan fell through. Her eyes flashed. That's not true. Isn't it? If Genevieve had stayed in Switzerland for another month, would you be standing in this kitchen right now? She didn't answer, which was answer enough. I thought so. Hale, I made a mistake, a huge, terrible mistake. But I'm here now and I want to fix this. Fix what, exactly? Our marriage, our family, everything. I looked at her for a long moment. This woman I'd loved for 12 years, who'd given me 2 beautiful children and a decade of mostly happy memories. I don't know if we can fix this, Arden. Why not? Because I don't trust you anymore, and I don't know if I ever will again. She started to say something, but I held up my hand. I need some time to think. About us, about the kids, about what comes next. How much time? I don't know. But while I'm thinking, the kids stay here, in their own house, in their own school with their father. You can't keep them from me. I'm not keeping them from you. I'm keeping them stable while we figure out what we're doing. Arden nodded slowly. Where will you stay? I have an apartment. I'll be close by. An apartment. Yeah. Turns out when your wife disappears with your kids, you make contingency plans. She flinched. I deserve that. You deserve a lot more than that. But I'm trying to be civil for the kids' sake. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We still need to talk about a lot of things. Counseling, custody arrangements, whether this marriage is worth saving. Is it? Worth saving? I looked around our kitchen one more time, listening to the sounds of my children settling back into their home. Ask me next week. The next morning, I drove the kids to school myself. It felt like a small victory, walking them to their classroom doors, seeing their teachers' relieved faces when they realized Lily and Max were back. Mr. Trenwick, Mrs. Patterson said, pulling me aside after Lily had joined her classmates. Is everything settled now? We were concerned when we heard about the transfer request. Everything's fine. The kids will be staying at Riverside Elementary. Good. Lily was worried about missing the science fair project she's been working on. She was. Oh, yes. She's been planning her volcano display for weeks. She was quite upset when she thought she might not be able to present it. I made a mental note to ask Lily about the science fair when I picked her up. Another small detail Arden hadn't considered when she'd decided to uproot our children's lives. After dropping them off, I drove to my job site and tried to focus on work. We were renovating a downtown office building, and I had 3 subcontractors to coordinate and a deadline that was already tight. But my mind kept drifting to the conversation I needed to have with Arden about our future. Around noon, Julian called. How did it go last night? The kids are back home. Arden's back too, temporarily. Temporarily? We're figuring things out. Want some advice? Not really, but you're going to give it to me anyway. Document everything. I know you've been keeping records, but now you need to be even more thorough. If this goes south and you end up in court, you want to be able to prove that you're the stable parent. It's not going to court. Maybe not. But if it does, you want to be prepared. He was right, of course. That evening, after the kids were in bed, I sat down with my laptop and updated my files. I added notes about the school transfer request, the kids' comments about missing home, and Arden's admission that they'd been unhappy at Victor's house. I also started a new document, a detailed account of every interaction I'd had with Arden since she'd come back. Not because I was planning to use it against her, but because I'd learned that memory was unreliable and emotions made everything fuzzy. If we were going to rebuild our marriage, we needed to be honest about what had happened and why. The next few days fell into an awkward routine. I stayed at my apartment, but came to the house every morning to make breakfast and drive the kids to school. Arden was polite but distant, like a house guest who wasn't sure how long she was welcome to stay. We didn't talk about Victor or the future or what came next. We talked about grocery lists and permission slips and whether Max needed new soccer cleats, safe topics, practical topics. But underneath the careful politeness, I could feel the weight of everything unsaid. Friday afternoon, I was picking up the kids from school when I saw a familiar black sedan parked across the street. Victor's car, or one just like it. I couldn't see the driver through the tinted windows, but I felt a chill of unease. "Dad, is that Mr. Victor's car?" Lily asked, following my gaze. "I don't know, sweetheart. Maybe." "Why would he be here?" "I have no idea." The car pulled away as we walked toward my truck, but I made a note of the license plate number, just in case. That evening, I asked Arden about it. "Have you been in contact with Victor since you left his house?" "Why?" "Someone in a car like his was parked outside the kids' school today." Her face went pale. "What kind of car?" "Black sedan, tinted windows, same as the one that picked you up." "It wasn't him." "How do you know?" "Because he made it very clear that he never wanted to see me again." "What exactly did he say?" Arden looked away. "It doesn't matter." "It matters to me. If he's following my children around, I need to know about it." "He's not following anyone around. Victor doesn't care about us anymore. We were an inconvenience that got resolved." "An inconvenience?" That's what Genevieve called us. An inconvenience that needed to be cleaned up before it caused problems. "And Victor agreed with that assessment?" "Victor said whatever his wife wanted him to say. It turns out he's not nearly as powerful as he pretends to be." I filed that information away for later consideration. "Has he called you? Texted? Any contact at all?" "No. Nothing." "Good. I want it to stay that way." "You don't need to worry about Victor, Hale. He's moved on to other interests." "Other interests?" "There's a new receptionist at his office, 23 years old, blonde, looks like she stepped out of a magazine." "How do you know that?" "Tina told me. She heard it from Mallory, who heard it from someone who works in the building." Tina and Mallory. Arden's closest friends, the ones who'd been liking and commenting on all her social media posts about her new life. I wondered what they were saying about her now. "Have you talked to Tina and Mallory since you came back?" "Briefly." "And?" "And they think I'm an idiot for coming back to you instead of fighting for Victor." "I see. And what do you think?" Arden was quiet for a long moment. "I think I'm an idiot for a lot of reasons, but coming back to my children isn't one of them." "Just your children?" "And you. I came back to you too." "Did you? Or did you just run out of other options?" "Does it matter?" I thought about that. "Yeah, it does." "Why?" "Because if you're only here because Victor kicked you out, then you'll leave again the next time someone offers you a better deal. There won't be a next time." "How do I know that?" "Because I'm telling you." "You told me a lot of things, Arden. You told me you loved me. You told me you were happy. You told me we were building a life together. Then you packed our kids' passports and moved in with another man." She flinched. "I know I hurt you. You destroyed me." "I know. Do you? Do you really understand what it felt like to watch you drive away with our children? To sit in this house alone, wondering if I'd ever see them again?" Tears started sliding down her cheeks. "I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't fix this." "Then what will?" I looked at my wife, crying in our kitchen, and felt something crack open in my chest. Not forgiveness, exactly, but something close to it. Time, truth, and a lot of work. I'll do the work. Will you? Even if it's hard? Even if it means admitting that you were wrong about more than just Victor? What do you mean? I mean that this isn't just about your affair, Arden. This is about the fact that you looked at our life, our house, our marriage, our family, and decided it wasn't enough. That I wasn't enough. That's not true, isn't it? You said yourself that you wanted to try being rich. You wanted to see what it felt like to have more money, more excitement, more possibility. I was confused. You were honest. Maybe for the first time in years. Arden wiped her eyes. So what do you want me to say? That I'll never want more than this? That I'll be perfectly happy living paycheck to paycheck for the rest of my life? I want you to say that you'll be honest about what you want, instead of pretending to be satisfied when you're not. And if what I want is impossible, then we'll figure out how to make it possible, together, like we used to do. Like when? Like when we wanted to buy this house and everyone said we couldn't afford it. Like when you wanted to go back to school and we figured out how to make it work with the kids. Like when Max needed surgery and we found a way to pay for it without going bankrupt. Those were different. How? Those were practical things. This is about dreams. Dreams are just goals without a plan, Arden. If you want a bigger life, we can build a bigger life. But we have to do it together, and we have to do it honestly. She looked around our kitchen, taking in the worn countertops and the mismatched chairs and the refrigerator that made too much noise. What if I can't be happy here anymore? Then we'll make changes. We'll renovate the kitchen, or we'll sell this house and buy a bigger one, or we'll figure out some other solution. With what money? With money we earn, money we save, money we plan for instead of money we steal from other people's marriages. That last part came out harsher than I'd intended, but I didn't take it back. I didn't steal anything. Didn't you? You took our children and moved them into another woman's house. You let another man pay for their food and clothes and education. What would you call that? I call it trying to give them a better life, by abandoning their father. I wasn't abandoning you. I was taking a break. A break. Yes. From your marriage. From our problems. I see. And did the break solve our problems? No. It made everything worse. So what now? Arden looked at me with red, tired eyes. Now I try to fix what I broke. Can you fix it? I don't know, but I want to try. I nodded slowly. Okay. We'll try. Together. Together. That weekend, we took the kids to the park where they'd learned to ride bikes and played on the swings when they were small. It felt like an experiment in normalcy, a test to see if we could still function as a family. Max ran straight for the basketball court, where a pickup game was already in progress. Lily headed for the playground, but she was getting too old for most of the equipment. She settled on a swing and pumped her legs half-heartedly. She's growing up, Arden said, watching our daughter. Yeah, they both are. I missed 3 weeks of their lives. They missed 3 weeks of yours, too. Do you think they'll forgive me? Kids are resilient, but they're also smart. They know something happened, even if they don't understand exactly what. Should we tell them? Tell them what? The truth, about where we went and why. I thought about that. What would you tell them? I don't know. That mommy made a mistake? That's part of it. What's the other part? That mommy and daddy are working on fixing the mistake together. Arden nodded. I can live with that. Good. Because that's what we're doing. We sat on a bench and watched our children play. Max had been accepted into the basketball game and was holding his own against kids twice his size. Lily had abandoned the swings and was climbing on the monkey bars with the determination of someone proving a point. They're good kids, Arden said. They are. We did something right. We did a lot of things right. And some things wrong. Yeah, some things wrong. A comfortable silence settled between us. Not the careful politeness of the past few days, but something that felt almost like the old us. The U.S. from before bills and stress and the slow erosion of dreams had worn us down to sharp edges. Hale? Yeah? I know I don't have the right to ask this, but do you think you can forgive me? I watched Max sink a shot from the free throw line while Lily cheered from the monkey bars. I think so. Eventually. How long is eventually? I don't know. Ask me next month. And if you can't, forgive me, I mean, then we'll figure something else out. Like what? Like how to be good parents to our kids even if we can't be good spouses to each other. Arden was quiet for a moment. I don't want that. What do you want? I want us. The real us. The way we used to be before everything got so complicated. We can't go back, Arden. I know, but maybe we can go forward. I looked at my wife, sitting beside me on a park bench where we'd sat dozens of times before, watching our children play in the afternoon sun. Maybe we can. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was possibility. And for now, that was enough. Monday morning brought the first real test of our fragile truce. I was making breakfast when Arden's phone rang. She glanced at the screen and her face went white. Who is it? I asked. Victor's office. Don't answer it. What if it's important? What could Victor's office possibly need from you that's more important than having breakfast with your children? She let it go to voicemail. 5 minutes later, it rang again. Same number. Answer it, I said, but put it on speaker. Arden hesitated, then swiped to accept the call. Hello? Mrs. Trenwick, this is Brenda from Mr. Hanford's office. Mr. Hanford would like to schedule a meeting with you to discuss some personal items you left at his residence. I could see Arden's hands shaking. What kind of personal items? I believe there are some clothing items and toiletries, perhaps some jewelry. Mr. Hanford would prefer to handle this matter privately. I don't need anything back. Mr. Hanford insists. He's available this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Arden looked at me. I shook my head. I'm not available this afternoon, she said. When would be convenient for you? It's not convenient. Ever. Please tell Mr. Hanford to donate anything I left to charity. I'm afraid that's not possible. These are valuable items that need to be returned to their proper owner. Then mail them. Mr. Hanford prefers to handle this in person, for insurance purposes. I took the phone from Arden. This is Hale Trenwick, Arden's husband. Who am I speaking with? This is Brenda, Mr. Hanford's assistant. Brenda, here's what's going to happen. You're going to box up whatever my wife left at your boss's house, and you're going to mail it to our home address. If there's anything valuable enough to require insurance, you can get a signature confirmation. But there will be no in-person meetings. Sir, I don't think you understand. I understand perfectly. Your boss wants to see my wife again, and he's using her belongings as an excuse. Tell him the answer is no. Mr. Hanford has been very generous. Mr. Hanford has been very married to someone who isn't my wife. Tell him to stay away from my family. I hung up and handed the phone back to Arden. You didn't have to do that, she said quietly. Yes, I did. He's probably just trying to be nice. Men like Victor don't do anything just to be nice. He wants something. What could he want? He made it clear that he was done with me. Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe his wife left town again. Maybe he's bored. Does it matter? Arden shook her head. No, it doesn't matter. Good, because you're not going. I know. Promise me. I promise. I wanted to believe her, but trust was going to take time to rebuild. That afternoon, I called Julian. I need a favor. What kind of favor? The kind where you use your tech skills to keep an eye on someone. Legal surveillance or the other kind? The legal kind. I think Victor might try to contact Arden again, and I want to know about it if he does. What do you want me to monitor? Her phone, her email, her social media, anything that might show contact from him or his people. That's going to require access to her accounts. I'll get you the passwords. Hale, are you sure about this? Monitoring your wife's communications is a pretty big step. So is rebuilding a marriage after your wife runs off with another man. I need to know that she's being honest with me. And if she's not, then at least I'll know where I stand. That evening I asked Arden for her passwords. She didn't hesitate, which was either a good sign or evidence that she'd learned to hide her tracks better. Why do you need these? Because I want Julian to monitor your accounts for any contact from Victor or his people. You don't trust me. I'm learning to trust you. But I'm not there yet. How long will this go on? Until I'm confident that Victor is out of our lives permanently. And if he's not, then we'll deal with that when it happens. 2 days later, Julian called with news. Your wife got an